thing that book, How to Make Shit Happen, talks about is like being able to say no
without being a jerk,
like a superpower.
Yeah,
because that almost like anything you say no to, well, anything you agree to do, you are tied up for that amount of time.
Yep.
But if you say no to something, you're free.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
It's just like the perception again, that you think about something. That's what determines the outcome. You know.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts, Owen? What do you think about that kind of nice, nice guy kind of thing?
So I would say that there was a time when I was, I think, 17 through 27, where I was not nice to really. I mean, I was a happy-go-lucky guy, and people gravitated towards me because I had this happy, joking mentality. But I really couldn't care less what anyone thought of me whatsoever. There was like this. I was into like metal music and stuff like that. I still am. But there was like a band called Stick to Your Guns that had a shirt, and it was like a quote from Dr. Seuss that said like those, like, say what you want and say what you feel, because those who matter won't mind, and those who mind don't matter. And that's kind of the mentality I had, was that like if people cared about like how my behavior, they didn't matter to me, and people that accepted me for who I was, they mattered. So I didn't people please whatsoever. However, I burned lots of bridges. I destroyed my life, mind, body, physically, spiritually during those 10 years. And I was so broken at the end of it that when I actually did find some recovery from the stuff, that everything that I'd been participating in, doing, being, I did kind of become a people pleaser. Like everything was off balance, no people pleaser whatsoever to full people pleaser mode. And now I'm trying to find kind of a balance between the two. So so I definitely do have the qualities of the people pleaser in me, but I'm trying to be able to set firm boundaries, and knowing that there's a time and a place to please certain people, and there's also not a time and a place to please other people that are just going to walk all over you and use you as a doormat.
And I find it hard to know when when that is. Because that's my biggest struggle is I want to help people out, but then it's hard for me to know if that person is going to be someone who's going to walk all over me, or if they're not. But once I already commit to them, that's even harder for me then to say no, because they're like, well, you already said you were going to help me. And I'm like, I didn't know you were going to be like this. Like, you know what I mean? It's harder to say no after the fact.
Well, that's my whole story. Like, with my brain injury, like I had already agreed to help, that person out, and I liked him and, was committed to him. And so I felt like kind of stuck. Like that's, was my only decision, you know?
Yeah. If you haven't heard Shane's story, go back and listen to Shane's story. It's pretty incredible. Wait, did you were just on, Keith's
Shift podcast.
Yeah. You were just on that one too. Yeah. That's great.
Oh, awesome. I'll check it out. I listened to Keith's podcast too.
Yeah.
I think I listened to John Bush talk on their last.
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago, something like that.
I don't think it's been released yet, but yeah.
Oh yeah, he does so many. Like his podcast, he was telling
one
me,
a day.
Yeah, he was telling me he's like, and I'm like a few weeks in ahead, and I'm like, dude, that's incredible. We're like a week ahead, when we do ours. Yeah. But still, I mean, we got other things that we're working on as well. But, Owen, so what's something that you can't go without, like something that you do every single day that you just can't go without? It could be physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, just something that you need to do every single day.
Well, make my bed for sure, like he was talking about. But that's the first thing that I have to do. But kind of like you, I usually wake up before Jen, so usually she makes the bed. But if we're up at the same time, we both make the bed. She's actually the one that made me read that book. But I guess something that I can't do without is being active, doing something daily that for physically for sure, as well as everything else, the morning routine, I've kind of fallen into it. And I feel like I need to do that every day because it kind of, rather than just isolating just the physical aspect, it kind of hits everything, mind, body, spirit, financial, and relationships. So it kind of hits all like the 5 peaks of real men.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is my recommitment to life daily. So yeah, I would say my morning routine.
Okay, dude, that's great. That's awesome. Is there like a favorite, I don't know, like a favorite food that you got to eat, every, whatever. Is there anything like that, like a favorite,
or a certain diet, or
a certain diet that you like to follow? Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, something like that, or you just kind of wing it every day. Like what's that like for you?
Yeah, so I've done pretty much every diet that there is, like keto, paleo, low fat. I've done like preps for like bodybuilding type shows. I've done, and so for the longest time I did like a cyclical ketogenic diet where I did keto for a few weeks and then I'd go to like a low fat, high carb diet when I was trying to build more mass and stuff like that. But I'm kind of falling out of that lifestyle, and pretty much the thing that I found after taking like food sensitivity tests and stuff like that, and really knowing my body, because I've had, like, if I eat gluten or dairy, like it destroys my gut and I have this painful gas and bloating for days afterwards. So I am gluten-free, dairy-free, but I eat lots of meat, and I pretty much go with a ketogenic diet, and I throw in some prolonged fasts at least once a month where I fast for 24 to 72 hours.
It's awesome. How's that coming for you? Like physically, how do you feel? Mentally, how do you feel?
It's great. So just kind of pretty much following that diet just feels great. The ketogenic diet makes it easier to fast. I usually don't eat my first meal until at least 11 a.m. So close to noon, and just
kind of like an intermittent fasting every day kind of thing.
For the most part, like today, I knew that I got to be a guest on your podcast, and I get to go do the event afterwards to promote the business. So, and I worked out earlier this morning. Usually I work out in the evenings, but today I did a quick morning routine, and then I kind of listened to some inspirational stuff when I ran and while I was working out, it kind of to substitute. So I knew I wasn't going to have time to make my food before going to the event, so I ate a little earlier today. So it sometimes varies based on my schedule, but most of the time I don't eat till 11.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. And I actually like what you just said there about that it kind of varies.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people won't follow something because they feel like they have to do it exact. Yep. Right? The problem is making it so strict that there are too many different things, too many different factors that come into play that will stop you from doing it so strict that people just they jump off the wagon. They're like, well, okay, fine. I guess I can't do it all the way, so I'm just going to stop. You have to be adaptable. You have to be able to adapt to the different stresses, the differences in life in general, in order to still continue the habits that you want to continue.
And your goals might come into play with that also.
Oh, for sure.
Like what you're currently working towards and stuff like that. It's just you got to be adaptable.
You do, and I think that's great that you mentioned that sometimes, like this morning, you had to change it just a little bit than what you normally do, but that was okay, and you didn't freak out about it and
completely avoid it or think it was over.
Yeah. He's like, well, fine, that's it. I'm done. I'm just going to go eat cheeseburgers and fries and, screw this. So that's great, Owen. So what are your next steps with your business? You're trying to get more clients. Do you have like a kind of what's your future plan with your business? You want to open up your own practice? You want to stay in the gym setting? Where are you at?
Well, I've been working with a business coach. I read his book. His name is Aaron LeBauer. He is awesome. He wrote a book called The Cash PT Blueprint, and I read it, and I'm enrolled in one of his courses right now. It's like a 5-week course, and all the things that he's been having me do are pretty amazing. And he's become this big entrepreneur, and I feel like in order to be able to reach my goals, my mission, to touch as many lives as possible, to add more value to a multitude of people, essentially what I have to do is I have to become amazing at my craft, what I do currently, where I am, and then based on my goals that we've established, he and I have gone back and forth with, to kind of create what my calling and how to touch more lives. And basically I'm going to have to build myself up and then clone myself, meaning hire somebody that's very similar, like-minded, and then build myself up some more and clone me again. And to reach my first goal, he said, maybe in we're looking at between 6 months and a year, I'm going to have to clone myself 2 or 3 times basically to reach my first financial goal. And then after that, it continues to kind of move up from there, but also to, that's pretty much the future. Currently it is just touching the local community's lives and adding more value into the local, and eventually I'd like to make that worldwide.
Dude, that's awesome. That's really great. Maybe we'll collaborate at some point.
For sure.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. What was the book? What was that book called? The Blueprint one? The Cash PT Blueprint? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's called The Cash PT Blueprint by Aaron LeBauer.
Okay.
And then also there's another one too, which is kind of funny, kind of like the Make Shit Happen, but it's F and then a bunch of stars insurance, which is another Cash PT fuck insurance. By Danny Mata. I'm currently reading that one too.
Okay.
That's awesome.
It's funny this day and age, like we as authors and everything, they have to feel like we got to get people to look at our book, and you know what I mean? They got to get the shock value just a little bit, because people are so they don't want to listen to the Jim Rohns anymore. They don't want to listen to the old school dudes that, that's all whatever information. They want the hardcore stuff. That's what I feel like people are into these days anyways. Cash PT. Okay. I was just writing those down because I want to check those out.
Is the Cash PT book for physical therapists?
It's for physical therapists, but I mean, he started out as a massage therapist, and then he became a physical therapist. But really, personal trainers and gym owners can do the exact.
It sounded like
the same thing.
Well, because I'm. Go ahead, and then I'll say it.
Well, just like the gym that I'm subcontracting through, they do a lot of continuing education, making themselves better personal trainers, gym owners, that they take all these neuro classes called through Z Health, which actually really helps with traumatic brain injuries. And so they do all these neurological things, and they are probably, I mean, sorry to say, but they're probably better than 90% of physical therapists that I run into.
Yeah.
So they can become more valuable. They can up their rates because they help people more than some of the conveyor belt insurance-based physical therapy clinics that are local do. So you could do the exact same thing, John. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's what I've found with going to John. I can go to physical therapy, but I only go once a week. And so when I go to John, I can tell him what's going on with me, and he can kind of formulate a plan to adapt with that plan I already have from the physical therapist. So it's kind of works hand in hand.
Well, for the beginning of my practice, my personal training practice, many years ago, almost 15 years ago, almost all of my clients were referred to me by the gym owner, which was also a physical therapist. Yeah. He was a physical therapist. So his clinic, he would send people to his gym, and I was the head trainer. So almost all of his people that I was getting were all people that would just I guess graduate from his physical therapy, and then I was working with them. So I ended up with a lot of, I kind of started it that way instead of working with athletes like I thought I was going to work with.
So really that method of being in the gym and having a physical therapist in the gym is
it's a good idea.
It's genius.
But why I wrote it down, this book, is because when you said clone yourself or duplicate yourself, that's exactly what I need to do. So then I can remove myself the hours that I spend in the gym. I mean, there's some days I'm there from 5:30 till 7:30 at night, and it's a long day. I need a little bit more family time. And that's what I'm trying to do is recreate me through my coaches. So then I have coaching meetings where I'm coaching my coaches, or I even have a head coach that coaches the coaches, and then I coach the head coach. Right. So then I put myself above. So then I can actually just run the business instead of just being always the person on the floor.
Have you ever seen the movie Multiple